What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's Fred here. I'm the chief market strategist at Toast Beans. So you can see that the market finally got a pullback after a 1 week of consolidation and literally 2 weeks of going straight up. So the S&P 500, if you remember, before Thanksgiving week, we ended the week at around SPY 650, and we had nearly a 40-point move to the upside without ever pulling back. And so in the meantime, last week we formed bearish divergences on the 4-hour time frame. It is still playing out, even if we manage to eke out a new high, maybe post FOMC or maybe right after the FOMC. It's not going to change the overall picture. So this MACD is not going to turn right back up. In my opinion, I think that the path of least resistance should be down to these moving averages on the 4-hour time frame, which is the 200 and then the 100 moving average, which is sitting around 675. So this is going to be like the first area of support. If the bulls can hold, then we can probably get a brand new high, a push higher after that. But if not, we can fill some of these gaps that were left behind during Thanksgiving week. So if you see that the VIX, it's quite interesting today because we had a nearly 8% move off the lows. We had a gap higher, but we only had about a $4 drop on the S&P 500, which is very interesting because an 8% move on the VIX usually corresponds to like an even bigger drop, which is maybe like a 1% or a 2% move on the S&P 500. But we didn't see any of that so far. So I think it's because, like I said last week or last video, no risk has been priced in to the FOMC because everyone expects like a 25 basis point cut. It's 100% quote unquote guaranteed, which I don't think it is, but people are pricing in the markets as if it's a 100% guaranteed cut and no risk is going to happen off of the FOMC meeting, which I disagree with. So you can see that people are starting to price in risk, and that's leading to the S&P 500 pulling back. I don't think it's done pulling back yet. We did find support at this 50 simple moving average on the 4-hour time frame because it previously was resistance, turned into support, and now we're bouncing off of it. I don't think this is a strong enough support to bounce off of, but even if we do manage to eke out a new high, it's not going to change the big picture, like I said. And if you look at the IWM, which is pretty interesting, the IWM started to roll over, but not really, right? You can see that this is like a clear bearish divergence on the MACD and on our side relative to the price of IWM. And I think that the IWM gets an even bigger drop, and that's going to drag the S&P 500 along with it. So, we have about 2 days into the FOMC. Let's see what, goes on with the rate cuts and then the speech afterwards. So we'll have to play this by ear. But so far, everything that I'm saying is playing out. So I do expect a deeper retracement and not just like a simple, $3 to $4 drop on the S&P 500 off the highs. Now, interestingly enough, we got the news of the H200 chips being made available to ship to China. Trump announced that today, and that caused the NVIDIA to spike up about 2%, 2-3% off the lows last week. So this could probably push the markets higher if we do manage to find footing around that S&P 675 level that I mentioned earlier. And you can see that we got a bullish cross on the MACD. We never got a bullish cross on the MACD since late October, which was about a month and a half ago. So this is positive development for NVIDIA, and we managed to find resistance at that 187 level, which I kind of suspected is going to be initial resistance, but the momentum has changed. That's the key part about NVIDIA, is that momentum is shifting. So now instead of selling the rips, it's probably shifting to buying the dips. So keep that in mind with everything that's going on so far. Hope this video helps you guys, with the analysis of the S&P 500 and the overall markets. So If you have any questions, join my Discord or leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.